Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton, Jeffrey, and Adam Ross here, as we are weekly, except voila, we are not live. This is pre-recorded. Spencer's away, but we wanted to stay in our regularly weekly time slot because we appreciate everybody planning their week around the Tuesday night chat. So here we are, and we got some great topics. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm good. Trying to subtly move my camera so it doesn't look like I'm trying to cuddle into you there, but can't do anything subtly. I'm good. Had our the Canadian Vintage Modifieds had their general meeting on Sunday, so it was a good day to go out there and see how things are going to go with the club, and it looks like the numbers are pretty solid for what they've been. And then spent a lot of hours in the shop this weekend.
Let's talk about that, Adam. You know, the Canadian Vintage Modifieds, they've been around for a long time. For some of the older fans, many years, they were known as the hobby class. The inline six cylinders is kind of what I identified them with for many years. They've kind of opened it up to the 602, but still a lot of them are on the inline six. And, the club had a resurgence about 2 seasons ago with the leadership of John Carley really taking back over and pushing to drum everybody back out of the garages, and it's got some interest back. You're one of an example of families that have come back to the division after many years. You're back there with Connor now, and you're going to be wheeling the car. What you gave us a brief thing, said things look good, but really, what's the story? How are they going?
I think you said it perfectly, Clinton. A lot of families that had been involved getting back in. And I sometimes discount the fact that Rob Twitchett, he's going to be doing a lot of the driving this season. He was the crew chief last year. But through in laws, like he has a long history with the vintage modifieds. It's just really interesting how many racing families that division has touched. And people are starting to come back to it. I give a lot of, well, most thanks to John Carley for the work that he's done, but the crate engines have been a godsend. I mean, I was laughing with Joe Arsenault, one of the racers in the club. I mean, Joe and I have raced together since we were kids. It was his damn inline six that ended my racing career because when it blew up at Sunset, it ended two cars with the club, my car and Paul Henderson. I pieced mine together to run Cayuga the next week, but that was the last race that car ran in the club, and Paul Henderson never raced again either after that one wreck. So screw the inline sixes; they're just grenades.
I think the potential for those kind of cars, they don't ever really go away, right? So a lot of them get rejigged by guys like Mike Westwood or whoever's working on these cars and making adjustments on them. And I think, you know, a lot like almost the hot rods have that resurgence. It has a potential to get 40 cars if they're out there, because as they keep clawing them back out of these garages, you're gonna see them come back, and the crate has been a good deal for sure.
Just like the Oscar hot rods, Clinton, I think you have to approach a hobby car race with a certain amount of respect because they're open wheels. And people used to call it the hobby hour. If they get through the first three laps of a feature under green, it's probably going to be a good night. If they have a yellow in the first three laps, for whatever reason, there's going to be lots of yellows. But having said that, I like the open wheels. You can't be a hothead in a division like that. You'll get cleaned out pretty quick.
Yeah, I think a lot of these issues, when it comes down to those, what you just said could be said about any open wheel division. I mean, I think about the crate sprints or the 360s. If they start out with yellow fever, it's going to be a long night. That's definitely for sure. Um, so it's good to see that going on. We have all these preseason meetings going on. I know, one of the other things we're going to talk about a little bit later, and we're trying to get Jamie Maudsley on here. He says his camera isn't detecting, so we're going to try and figure out if we can figure that out. So, yeah, if you want to bring him on, Spencer, we can make that work. If you have audio with Jamie, and we'll fix that one up. Jamie's going to be with
For
us,
sure.
Adam, obviously for the APC series and the Quick Super Stocks. He filled in with us at Delaware last year, so that was a good deal. And you know, Jamie is intimately involved with most of those teams through his association as the announcer at Delaware Weekly. His son Jordan's going to be working on some of the social media stuff. I'm excited to have them on the team. Obviously, sad to see Greg drop off of the full tour with us on the G-Force crew, but Greg's going to focus on Osh Weekend, the KOT, and the Action Sprint Tour. So But I thought Jamie was a great addition. We had a great time at Delaware. That was just such a fun weekend to cap off the year.
One really cool thing with Jamie coming on is he goes way back. He's the same age as we are, Clinton. He was he was a homer for the longest time. Delaware Speedway, CASCAR, the weekly racing there. He was a huge flag waver for that racing. When pro late models became the thing to do across the province, Delaware wasn't the hub anymore. It was one of the tracks involved, but it wasn't the hub of racing. With the new resurgence of Delaware again, I think it could become that hub for stock car racing in Ontario. And I hope Jamie's ready to lap that up because, as I say, he is definitely a London boy and proud of it.
Well,
Jamie's with us now.
Can you guys hear?
Yeah, we got you, Jamie. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So sorry, I'm not sure why the video is not working, and I apologize for that. That's a new problem. I had Zoom meetings during the week for work, and it seems to be working. All of a sudden, it's not now. So, anyways, we'll deal with it, right?
You're not much to look at anyhow, Jamie. Neither
Face
am I.
Face made for radio, Adam.
Amen.
Jamie, let's talk about coming on the air with us this year. Covering every APC race is going to be amazing for us. The division has really taken off, and maybe speak to some of the stuff Adam just talked about with the resurgence of Delaware and all the great stuff they've got going on. Obviously, just announced another big race this past week as well.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be probably the most premier late model race in the province this year. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, with everything going on in the world and shortages, the testing policy that came out really caught my eye a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys had a chance to touch on that, but they're really limiting the amount of testing it can do. But the other thing that they've done by that, and I think this is a slick move by the series as well, is you can't go, I mean, you only have so many test dates that you can do. But there's nothing to stop you on a Saturday night when the APC series isn't racing from going to Flamborough and racing with their weekly guys. You know, you see a lot of times at Delaware, the guys show up on a Friday night and they test at 6 o'clock and put it in the trailer. Hey, guess what? You want to test tonight? You better race tonight too. And I think that is a bonus for all those home tracks. I just think it's going to add to the racing. And obviously, with the situation we're in, I mean, nobody likes it, the costs going up and everything like that. But I think the series did a good job in that regards of, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to save teams money if you don't want to spend the money. But if you want to spend the money to test, you're going to go entertain the fans.
And it makes an awful lot of sense, Jamie. So you and I are going to spend a lot of time together this summer, which is great by me, man. We've known each other a long time. What are you now? Can we get you to get involved with power rankings and all that? That's one thing you've done for years that I've always really enjoyed.
I'll tell you what, I didn't do it because I got so much heat a couple years ago from everybody else. So I'm just going to take a year off. Maybe we can try something like that. And again, it's, I have my own opinions, the way I see things, and I just call them the way I see them.
You're going to fit right in. Let's go with a who's hot and who's not then throughout the year. Because I know, yeah, you did get some heat for that. But Clinton, I love that sort of thing. I mean, that's why we bring in a Jamie Maudsley. That's why Greg Cowlin is so very good on dirt, is that like he really absorbs it and knows what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. Jamie, let's talk a little bit about that. What's the hot story coming in? Any newcomers we need to know about? Obviously, Pete Shepard has hung things up for the time being, at least, and going to spend some more time with the family. What do we need to know going into test day coming up here in a couple weeks?
Well, I think your newcomers you're going to want to watch. Well, we got introduced to one of them, and both the real newcomers full time we've seen before. I think as far as two of the hottest shoes, and they both won before. And we saw Kyle Steckley win last year in his first APC start. He comes from a long line of racers, and he's just good. So I think you're going to see him in that car do well. The other thing, I'm finally glad that Rick Spencer-Walt finally got a full-time deal because, again, I'm like you said, I'm a homer. I mean, Delaware, I get to Flamborough once in a while. I didn't grow up in Sunset. I didn't get to watch Rick Spencer-Walt race every week. But the times I've got to see him at Sunset and Sabo, he's just impressed me. I mean, he races clean. He races hard. It does a lot for the kids too, which I know is great. And glad he finally got a full-time deal. So I think those two guys are going to be tough. And I was thinking about earlier, I'm almost as excited about the super stocks as the late models. And that's the crazy thing. Because, and Adam, you'll be able to go back to this. Remember when the truck series in the late 90s and the heydays, you had the old school guys like the High Plains Drifter, Rick Corelli, and you had Hornaday, and Ted Musgrave was back down from the Cup series. And then you had those newcomers like, the Bushes, Kurt Busch, obviously, and Kenny Irwin and Brendan Gaughan coming up. Well, that's what you got in the super stocks. You got Pete Vanderwist, Jamie Cox, Jay Dewar, all these long time. Jason Parker's got another car now. And then you got the young kids coming up, I think it's just a great mix. And I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of races this year in both tours where there's going to be guys go home without racing.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, Jamie.
And well, it's never a good thing if you're the guy that goes home. It says a lot for the guys that do get in the show.
I have mixed emotions on that because I've always said there's nothing worse than cars in a feature event that don't belong, not quite ready for primetime racers. There's nothing wrong with going and practicing, running your qualifying, running your consi, and not earning the privilege of racing in a feature. It is not your right because you buy a race car to race in the main event. So when you have enough cars to make that necessary, well, let's do this, Jamie. How much fun were cast car consies back in the day at Delaware and Cayuga Speedway?
I still tell the story. The one I remember the most, my first year working at Delaware was 1994. And the Labor Day weekend, there was 57 cars showed up to make 38 spots. Incredible, and there was 20 cars that went home without racing that weekend. A lot of hurt feelings, I'm sure.
Jamie, who's going to be the top three guys we need to keep our eye on as far as championship contenders for the APC on paper before we ever turn a lap going into the season?
Well, it's still, we don't have a solid number of everybody that's coming out. So it should be interesting. I don't know if I can just pin it down. Matt Perdico is coming back to run full time, so that's a biggie. He's a former champion. I mean, you can never count out J.R. Fitzpatrick. He's a former champion. We saw Andrew Gressel take the roller coaster ride to the bottom of the hill, but last year he kind of looked like he was on his way back up. And when he gets to the top of the hill, there's nobody tougher than the 81. Geez, I don't even know where to start. That's the thing about this deal is there's just so many guys that could win and can win and are championship contenders. I was talking to Shea Gemmel a few weeks ago. He's won a feature before, running his own team now. We'll see how that works out, So like I said, it's just the names and the talent that is there is just phenomenal.
Clint, do you think Jamie is excited enough?
I do. I got one more for you, Jamie. Can anybody unseat Lane Zardo this year?
I mean, it came down to the end with him and Trevor Culver. I mean, it was, one mistake by either one of those guys the other way at any point during the year, it would have been the other guy win. So I don't think by any stretch of the imagination Lane dominated them. But Brendan Verhoeven's coming back to run a super stock this year. Again, now you've got Pete Vanderwist with another year experience behind the wheel of the super stock. Jason Parker had good runs when he was out last year.
Garrett Temersma. He's hot as can be. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And just like you said, Clinton, Jamie, you got the young Lions, but then you've got the old guard, and there's going to come points where you see, and I think of things that are so completely unrelated. You might not even know the Hurricane Steve Payne. He's a dirt modified racer. He's well past his prime. He is over the hill, past his prime, only races locally. He won a big race last year at his local track, and you could watch the last few laps, the veteran, and you don't see people run defensive lines anymore like you used to. To watch him navigate the last 3 laps of that race and he didn't put himself in a position to be fast. He put himself in a position where nobody could take advantage of him. And that's what I think we're going to see with the super stocks. At some point, a veteran is going to do veteran things, and people are going to be a little bit shocked by it. Like, just the storyline is going to be unique. I just feel it's going to come to a head at some point.
Yeah, and I think they got a great schedule put together, diverse tracks. We're going pretty much everywhere in Ontario that we can go, and like I said, I think you're going to see some more guys. I know Carson Nagy. He's already said that he's coming to run Delaware every night, weekly. He says, I want to come down to Delaware and run against 15, 20 cars every week. He says, I know we can get better doing that. And I mean, he proved he won at Peterborough last year, so he's proved he can win. I said, it's just you don't know where to start and where to finish. Like when you read the whole roster, you can come up with 15 guys in each of the divisions. It's a who's who.
Jamie, let's talk about Delaware a little bit. There's been some good construction, some new influx of excitement and management. Last year, we hung out there quite a bit with the G-Force crew. I fell in love with the place because I've never got to go all these years working on Schweeken for 25 years. I think Delaware's got a great future ahead of it. As Adam called you a homer there, what are your thoughts on the next couple seasons for Delaware?
I think it's great. I think they've dumped some money into the infrastructure, and that says a lot for, like, you don't just dump money into the place that you don't own without there being a future involved. And I mean, smart businessmen like the guys that run APC, they don't spend money on foolish things. They know what they're doing, and they've obviously got a game plan and a solid business plan on what they can do. And I think after the year everybody had in 2020, 2021 was just the year of getting out of the house. And I hope that can continue, because the year of getting out of the house led to packed houses there every night. I mean, you're talking about, you would get a normal July 1st Canada Day weekend crowd on a regular Friday night. And I mean, King of the Hill night, the place was packed. And I think that's, again, the more you can get them to the track, if you impress them. I thought the product was good last year every night out too. You keep them coming back, right?
Right on, Jamie.
I enjoyed the hell out of the night that I was there. Connor and I went down on a Friday night, and the pure stocks had the crowd just going crazy. So they appreciate the late models, and I think it's real similar, Clinton. I think we have that at our Schweeken as well, where sure there's premier classes, but that doesn't mean that's where the premier show is, and people get riled up for every division out there for different reasons.
Well, the nights I've got to go to Schweeken, you see street stocks everywhere. I make sure that no matter what I'm doing, I'm at the fence watching that pure stock feature at Schweeken, because you're going to see 3, 4, 5 wide, right from the concrete to the guardrail, the whole race long. And
our mini stocks and thunder stocks have always put on a hell of a show. 3, 4 wide, it's been great. Well, Jamie, we're not going to bug you too much tonight. We thank you for coming on. We'll be talking to you a lot more throughout the summer. In case you're new here, just joining us, Jamie's going to be joining Adam in the booth for all the APC and Quick Super Stock events this year as part of our Fast Eddie Quick live coverage on G-Force of all those events. Adam?
Let's do this, because it wouldn't be fair to send Jamie off without asking your opinion, Jamie. Ty Gibbs, is he an instant villain? What's your take on what transpired?
First of all, nobody likes the kid who grew up with the silver spoon in his mouth, whether he worked hard enough or is talented enough to deserve it. A majority of people just don't have no use for that. I'm a Sam Mayer fan because I watched him win in ARCA, and when he finally won his truck race in his 6th start last year in what was a decent truck, but not I don't believe he was driving for Kyle Busch at the time, and I think if you're going to get out of the car and you're going to go man up to somebody, you take the bucket off and you man up. He gave the shove to Sam Mayer and turned away. And then while he still had the helmet on, was throwing licks, and that's, I think that's not cool.
There you go. Good enough. I wanted to get your opinion because Clinton and I are going to chat about it a little bit later on. But as we say, you're part of our pavement team, so you deserve to have a take.
Looking forward to spending the summer with you guys.
Be a
Right
great
on,
time.
man.
Thanks,
Thanks so
Jamie.
much, Jamie.
Good stuff. Have a good night.
Jamie Maudsley will be joining Adam in the booth for all the broadcasts this summer. It's going to be great. The APC Super Stock Series. Adam, let's jump right into that then. This will be our Burger Barn video of the week. This is the video you were just talking about. If you missed it, it was at the end of the Xfinity race on Friday night. And here we go. So Sam Mayer is in the blue and black car. Ty Gibbs unhappy coming over the Monster Energy. And obviously Joe Gibbs' son, he gives him a poke there. Mayer continues to take the helmet off. And Adam, you're the one who's got the reputation for calling these fights you want to take away.
Nah, you know what? I'm enjoying the. Yeah, you got a couple of good shots in there, Spencer. If you would show that again from the start, I'm really enjoying the body language of Sam. He was calm as can be. Obviously, Ty came up to say something. Look what he does with his hands. Like, yeah, whatever. Wait, whatever. So, and he's probably not congratulating Ty. There's probably some chirping going on, but he didn't get into a defensive stance. But he got right back into Ty's face after the confrontation. Now it's getting pretty heated, and Ty escalated. And he landed a good left. It's not really a hook, but I don't know what you would call it. It was a good punch. Here, let's back it up 5 minutes. Why was Ty Gibbs pissed at Sam Mayer?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Well, no. Okay, so Ty stepped on his
You have
dink.
to reenact it.
Ty Gibbs dominated that race. He was the best car. Teammate, God, I can't even think. Brandon Jones.
Yep.
It didn't seem like he had the car to win. Late race restart. Brandon Jones did not really dirty Ty up. He just outdrove him. Ty did not do the veteran thing. He did not protect what he needed to protect. Brandon Jones got by him. Brandon Jones goes down into turn 3 and 4 on the last lap, and he's got the win. There's nothing Ty Gibbs is going to be able to do. Here comes Sam Mayer because they're racing for that Xfinity bonus of $100,000. Sam Mayer just sails it down into the corner, sends Ty Gibbs up the racetrack. Ty was racing for the lead with 1 lap to go, winds up finishing 8th. And I think AJ Allmendinger got the $100,000 from Xfinity. So now that we've said that, Clinton, Ty Gibbs needs to be upset at Ty Gibbs. He effed up. He cost himself that race by not having the racecraft to keep Brandon Jones behind him.
Well, if I recall correctly, he opened up the bottom for him, and Jones just drove right underneath. He didn't hug, like he had the car to do it, but I don't know if he thought Jones wasn't going to go for it, but
the car wouldn't hang on the bottom. So I think Ty Gibbs is trying to drive the car as fast as he can. And sometimes it's not about driving as fast as you can. It's about slowing the car, getting it set on the bottom of the racetrack. Even if it means letting Brandon Jones run into you while you're getting your car set to take off in the other direction. And Clint, I get it. It's easier said than done. Like what these people do is difficult. But Ty Gibbs did the wrong thing in that situation because I don't know that he's ever not had the best car on the last lap of that race. So for one, why are you mad at Sam Mayer? Get out of the car. If you want to act like Kyle Busch, all upset that you didn't win and look ugly in your interview, then do it. Think about 1 week before where you did use somebody up to get the win. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Suck it up and move on. That's what really confused me about the Ty Gibbs situation. Why? Oh, yeah, that was a good punch. And the left, I think, was even better.
Do you have
he did graze him.
The aftermath picture, Spencer? I think I sent it to you of the black eye that Bob Pockruss had shared. And it was Sam Mayer says his eye doesn't hurt. He looks like he cut him a bit there, too. So let's go back and talk about this, Adam. There are lots of other things that we could go on. I mean, it's not just a Ty Gibbs thing. This goes for racers everywhere. Should Ty have taken the helmet off? That's question one. Your answer in our private chat was, well, no, because if you go back to the 1973 Daytona 500, well, if you got that one too, Spencer, there's
Ka-
Bobby Allison, and he didn't have his helmet off.
right? And
But the
Kale
defense
was in
the defense there was though Kale was swinging his helmet.
that it was using his helmet. So here's the thing. Why are people picking on that? Do what you want. Wear a helmet, don't wear a helmet. If I'm Sam Mayer, I would be disappointed. What someone does when they come up to you wearing a helmet, Clinton, is make themselves very vulnerable to having their head twisted right off their shoulders. Like if I'm Sam Mayer, I have got my hand around the front of Ty Gibbs' helmet, and I could take him anywhere I wanted to take him at that point. Junior Hanley tells a story about that, about holding a guy in. A guy attacked him in his race car, and he just grabbed on him to where he couldn't let go, and he took off and left him out in the corner. I think that happened down in Michigan. But that's so. I mean, you got to know how to defend. I've got no problem having your helmet on, having your helmet off. There's history either way. But I like that Sam Mayer, like Ty went up to Sam. Sam was at his car. Ty instigated. Sam goes back and held his ground. He wasn't going to be pushed around. The other thing we should watch, and Spencer, I'm going to ask you to play that video again. Look at Ty Gibbs with the official. Of all the things that happen there, you don't shove an official in any sport. It'll have to be before that, Spencer, right back to the beginning. I'm sorry. There's an official standing there trying to keep Ty, just as Ty got out of his car, Spencer, all the way to the beginning. Because I was watching it live
We
and I
might not
thought,
have it
wow.
back that far.
I was really surprised at how that went down. Because
Here it
right
is.
here, he shoved an official. It
Yeah,
wasn't
but see,
hard.
I've seen that 1,000 times at the races. Sidestep an official. I mean, that wasn't. If
He
I'm managing the
sidestepped
place,
him.
I don't have a big problem with that. You
And
know,
I'm
maybe it's
being a
because
bit
everything else
nitpicky.
overshadowed it. You know, all the other
If this
events were way
happened
more dramatic than that.
if this happened in a football game, there'd be a huge fine and possibly a suspension. In any sport other than
Yeah.
racing.
Well, hockey, you're allowed to beat the hell out of each other. You just can't breathe on the referee, right?
Yep.
uh,
I did just see a press release though. Ty Gibbs cannot win an Academy Award for the next 10 years.
I saw that joke too. Um, let's bring on our next guest. Whenever we got his audio and he's ready to go, Todd Lewis is going to join us now. Another one of our veteran reporters, and I'm sure Todd has a take on this too. Todd, you got us?
I got you loud and clear, guys. You got me okay?
Yeah, we do.
Oh
What's your
man,
take on
you
this whole
sound good.
thing?
I watched it too, and I was looking for it specifically when Adam mentioned that he shoved the official. And I'm more leaning with you, Clinton, that he kind of sidestepped the official. If the official really wanted to prevent him from getting there, he would have taken a more firmer stance to say, no, 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 this is as far as you're getting. And I think he was okay to let him by. If he felt that he was shoved out of the way, his reaction would have been greater to put a stop to this before it really got started.
Good point.
Why do you have to bring common sense to the table? Let's start this over again.
I'm sorry about that. I'll
That's
refrain.
a terrible
from that.
thing. Please.
Todd, first off, where are you at? What are you covering these days? And what's the hot story in your neck of the woods?
I am in Fort Myers, Florida right now. As a matter of fact, I've been here for the last few days, and I am looking forward to getting back out on the road again in a couple of weeks. I'll be out at Penticton Speedway for their kickoff event, the Western Rattler 300 on the 29th and 30th of April, which I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of entries already, and there will be a few more coming in. So I'm looking forward to that. And just again, it's only 2 weeks away, which is the other cool part too. So it's going to be fun. I've been the last event I was at was also down here in Florida. Would have been the season opening IndyCar event at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, which was a fun weekend as well to kick off the season for IndyCar a little bit earlier than usual, right at the end of February, but all good. The more racing we get in through the season, the happier I am, as same as you guys.
Oh, absolutely. What's the layout like at Penticton Speedway? I'm trying to picture it in my mind. I've seen photos of it, but that's a big event they're hosting.
It's a very big event with a $65,000, I believe, in prize money. So it's getting an awful lot of attention. So the layout is pretty cool in that it it was redone last year by Trevor Siebert, who was involved in the design and construction of Area 27. But this is an oval. It's a short oval. But what they did is extend out the wall on the front stretch to make the front stretch a little bit wider. They put progressive banking through corners 3 and 4 and allows drivers to run side by side, lap after lap after lap after lap. It makes for some really fun and exciting short track racing, which is the idea and the excitement around short track racing. Is you want to see drivers grind on each other a little bit, maybe rub a little sheet metal against each other, and race for position. I'm not talking about punting people out of the way, as we saw what happens with that with Ty Gibbs, but it's the side by side racing for position action that you want to see. And whether it's for first, whether it's for 10th, whether it's for 15th, you want to see people battling for position, and that's what they've succeeded in getting here at Penticton Speedway.
Todd, let's switch gears over to maybe the Pinty Series first, and then we'll talk a bit about IndyCar.
Sure.
Pinty Series looking for another good season coming up. Obviously, be back with Fuel Media and everything going on there. You've been with that series, before. Let's take out the sponsorship deals, but how many years have you just been traveling with that crew?
With the Pinty Series since its inception in 07. And I go back with the Fuel Media Group and the predecessor to the NASCAR series in Canada, which was CASCAR, which goes back to the mid 90s. And that's how long I've been doing it. So yes, I'm very old, but that's that goes back to some, and we'll start reminiscing and talking about some great races and great times and fun and stories that we've had, and you guys share in this as well too when you're at the events. And that's the great part about it, is working with terrific people for so many years. You get to share in a lot of great stories and a lot of great memories and a lot of fun times that you have on the road. And we're looking forward to going back out west this year to the events in Edmonton and Saskatoon. And I know the people in those provinces are clamoring to have the series back, which is great. We'll be back in Quebec a couple of times this year. It'll be fantastic. I'm excited to see what happens on the dirt track at Ohsweken, because by the sounds of the interest and excitement, there's going to be about 50 cars in the Pinty Series lined up to race in that event. Because if everybody that expresses an interest to say, yeah, I'm going to get a car and I'm going to do that, actually does it, there will be about 50 cars. I don't know if 50 Pinty's cars exist to run out there, but that's the amount of interest that's part of that event. And so there's always a lot of anticipation for new races like that, and then returning to the favorites. Like GP3R is one of my favorite events of the calendar year in any series. I just love going to that event because the city embraces it, and it takes over the whole town, which is great. And it's last year the championship weekend that took place at Delaware Speedway, to come back and be part of it. And I'm looking forward to more excitement and seeing that championship weekend grow with all the different series there on that weekend at Delaware. So pick an event. I've got a reason to be enthusiastic about it.
I've got a couple.
I agree with
you.
Yeah,
go ahead, Adam. No, you can go ahead, Adam. I got a couple things, but I want to go with Todd over.
I really like the point Todd made about championship weekend at Delaware Speedway. That's a big race weekend. That event is going to get bigger and bigger, and I hope, in 5 years we can look at it and say, man, this is dynamite. This is blockbuster. The province deserves that. Ontario deserves that. The racers, the fans, everybody deserves that event before the snow falls, because some of the fall events are pretty damn cold. It deserves a prime time, fantastic weekend, and this is the makings of exactly that.
Well, I think the timing for that is really good too. It came in last year, and the crowds all 3 nights were terrific, right through the weekend for all 3 days. But I think from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing this year is because things have opened up, things have loosened up, restrictions have been dropped, that I think the crowds are going to be really good at all the events because people have been, quite frankly, cooped up in their houses for 2 years and they've had enough of it. And they want to get outside and do things. And I think this presents a great opportunity for motorsports and outdoor festivals of this like to really take advantage of it. The announcement was just made that the Toronto Indy tickets are going on sale again this week, which is fantastic news. And again, that's a historical event that has had great stories in a number of different series as part of it that is going to come back this year. And I think is going to come back really big this year because I think people have been clamoring to get outside and do things and go to events. We got a little bit of a taste of it at the end of last year when things opened up just a little bit, but now it's expanded even further. So I think this could be a really good year for a lot of different tracks and a lot of different events and a lot of different series, which I'm super excited about.
Todd, going back to Washweekend, they will open up ticket sales this weekend as part of the Bristol Dirt celebration going on. So you're going to probably see a big push media wise with that. So I'm excited about that, Todd. We're going to have the Hot Lap Challenge on the Monday. And that's kind of just it's a test session with a payout. So they say you can't win hot laps. This is where you can actually win hot laps. But no, it just made sense to we have the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals on the Monday. It made sense to show off the Pinty's cars, give them as much track time as we can because a lot of the guest drivers, whether it be superstars or local rentals, that's going to be a chance for them to get a good shot at what we have going on and experience a bit of the festival. $25,000 to win that race. So that's going to be awesome. So far, Stuart Friesen has come in. I did talk to Ken Schrader, who said, I'm in as long as you confirm my car owner still getting me that car. So we'll work on getting that news this week and confirm that. But Schrader says he's ready to go. I think the list is going to continue to grow. Todd, switching gears now. Obviously, we are taping this prior to its actual airing on Tuesday. We've said that at the top of the show. So let's talk about what actually dropped between airing and now. The big announcement that came out Monday regarding the Pinty series and the new event that's going to be going on at Newfoundland. Your thoughts on that?
Let's go. Can't wait. Been waiting for this to be official and announced and talked about for, I don't know how many months now that it's been talked about and speculated. So let's go. Can't wait. Super excited to travel to a new province and a new track. And, there's going to be people who immediately say, oh, wow, but that's a long trip and that's a hard journey. And I don't know, how are they going to work the logistics and that? You're right that there are going to be logistics. It is an awfully long trip, but let's give it a chance to succeed and let's do what we can to help it succeed, because there's a lot of people that have put a lot of time and money and effort into trying to present this event. So let's find ways to try to make it work, as opposed to let's find every possibility to find a difficulty that you don't want to deal with in terms of new events. And I personally love first time and new events. I think they're fantastic. Yes. There's a buzz and there's an excitement that you can't get at any other time. When you have a first time inaugural event, or you're starting a new venture, or you're starting a new project, there's a uniqueness to that brand new, okay, we think we've planned this and we think we've done it properly, and all you can do now is hold your nose and jump into the deep end and start swimming and tread water. And there's going to be things that go wrong, because there always are. There will be something that's you didn't maybe anticipate, or something works out a little bit differently. So go with it and find the solution. Don't find ways to squash it even before it gets off the ground. Let's be excited about it. There's a whole new market out there to attract people from the East Coast. We haven't been to the East Coast for a number of years now. So here's a new place to go, a new market to tap, and a new group of fans to expose your product to. It's a great product. So take it and show it off to people and bring in more fans. That's what the series needs and wants.
And correct me if you disagree here, Todd. Clint, what's the farthest you've gone with Joel to work for NASCAR?
I think it probably would have been, I iCar. We almost got a little bit further
I
down Chaudier,
okay.
but got canceled last year.
Right.
So it's hard to explain, but the farther you get from the core in Ontario, every event has a different excitement level and a different vibe. When we used to go out to Vernon, British Columbia, it was a party. Like it was a real exciting event. Same with Edmonton. I mean, just an absolute
Yep.
party. Saskatoon didn't have the party vibe, but there was welcome race fans signs in front of businesses in downtown Saskatoon. Like you'd go into town, you're like, wow, this is kind of a big deal, and we're a part of it. Todd, what's Newfoundland going to be like? And tell me if you disagree, because you've seen it all as well. I just have a feeling this is going to be next level excitement. Well, to give you a hint of how this could go, the promoter insisted it be a day race because he wants to go to town that night and party with all the race teams.
Sounds like a good start to me, don't you think? That this is the approach, and you're right. It's a Saturday, and let's have an afternoon race so that we can enjoy the teams that have come to town to join us, and we can participate and find out more about their home and the traditions and customs. Which there may be a beverage or two involved, as I understand it, which I'm pretty good with. I agree with you 100%. By the way, about out west, and Vernon's fantastic, Edmonton's fantastic, Saskatoon as well. Maybe not quite so much the party atmosphere because it's always been a midweek event, and most people have to work for a living. But the first year we went to Saskatoon, there were people coming up to me after the race and shaking my hand, say, thanks so much for coming out to our town and putting on the show. Like, this was great. We really enjoyed it, and we're so happy to have you, and we can't wait for you to come back next year. That's the kind of enthusiasm that you get when you get to go to a new market, a new track, a new province in this case as well. And that's the excitement of a first time event. So yeah, bring it on. Let's go. I'm really excited to get there. Can't wait.
Adam, kind of on a smaller scale, we experienced that last year when we went with the Knights of Thunder to Southern Ontario Motor Speedway for the first time. We were kind of thinking, like, why are we
Absolutely.
going to this place? It's out of our target market. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, away from where we all grew up. And we went down there, and they were 10 deep at the fence all the way around. They were super thrilled to have us, and we were like, wow, this is shocking. So excited to see these new markets. Obviously exciting for the series to expand out. Todd, let's talk about some of the logistics. When you think about it, the teams, I guess off the top of my head, are going to have to truck all the way to the East Coast and then get on a boat and be carted over on the ferry over to the Rock. It is going to be a bit of an undertaking. What are the teams saying? What are you hearing back from the teams?
Well, that's exactly it. Is okay. So they want information, and how is this all going to work? It's changed and evolved a few times since it was originally suggested as to this was the weekend. This is how we're going to do it. It's changed and evolved, but that's fine. Everybody will get there. Everybody will get to the track at the same time. So you drive as far as you can drive, get on the ferry, the hauler goes over, and then it will come back. It is a long trip for one race. I will grant you that, because it's probably going to be about a 10-day trip for some drivers, if they're doing the whole drive themselves. That's going to be a challenge. I will give you that. If it was possible to do another event either before or after and make it a trip like the one out west where there's a couple of races within a few days of one another, I think the series would have done that and put that together. This is a new event. This is a new location. This is a new province. Let's try it. Let's see how it works. Nothing's going to be perfect the first time out. Every first time event I have been to and been part of, things go wrong. Things don't go exactly as anticipated, but embrace that and understand that you have to react on the fly, and things are going to change, and you have to be adaptable. It's no different than racing and competing. You can say that when the green flag drops, I'm going to do this, and at lap 100 I want to be here, and at lap 200 I want to be taking the checkered flag before everybody else. How many of those race plans have worked out for you in the hundreds of events that you've run?
Yep.
Bet
Hey,
you
Todd,
it's this many.
Todd, you know I have to promote a first-time Pinty's event this year. Now you got me worried that something's inevitably going to go wrong. But just to finish that before I throw it back to Adam, it's funny because I saw one of our old-time racers, Doug Gordon, last summer. We were setting up for G-Force. He said, "How's it going?" And we were sweating and we had problems. I said, "Doug, just one time, I'd like this damn team to roll it off the trailer like we rolled it into the trailer at the garage and everything to work. But just like a race team, we're going to find out how to make it in the feature, make this work, and at the end of the night, we're going to finish this race." So,
That's
we
it,
worked it
boys.
out.
That's
Adam,
exactly it.
I just want to shift gears and get some of Todd's perspective. This is another one of the topics you brought up, and it's something we've been talking about in my drinking, race, and party circles. What kind of priceless award can we create for this NASCAR Pinty's event at Oshweekend Speedway? Because Adam brought it up this weekend just in our conversation. Look, they're racing for millions of dollars at Martinsville, but they all want to win this priceless clock that money can't buy. So thoughts on that, and what do we
That's
create?
a good one.
What
That's a
Adam, you
good
can
one.
take it away first while Todd thinks about it, but what kind of trophy should we make for the Pinty's race? And two, it's kind of neat that these millionaires only want this clock.
Yeah, well, that's it. You want a prize that money can't buy. It's something you have to earn. There's only one way to get an Olympic medal. That's to compete in the Olympics. There's only one way to get that grandfather clock. It's to win a race at Martinsville. Interestingly, it's the same grandfather clock if you win the truck race or the Xfinity race or the Cup race. Because again, it doesn't matter that you're the Premier Division or you're the night before the Premier Division. It's part of that's the award. So Clinton, I would suggest this: whatever you do for the Pinty's race, you should probably do for the sprint cars that night. Like it's got to be a unique night where, because even in the other ranks of NASCAR, when the trucks went to Eldora or any of the races that have been held, I don't know that any of them have run their Premier Dirt class on the same track on the same night as that Premier NASCAR division. It truly is a special event.
I like that idea that it's the same trophy prize for each division that you run. The hard part is trying to decide and picking something out of thin air as to what that might be is a challenge. The thing about Martinsville too, since we're using that as kind of a comparison, is it's been this prize for so many years. The first year, I'm pretty sure that it's like, oh, okay, it's a grandfather clock. Okay, I guess that's pretty cool. But it's become a tradition that the winner receives this, and it's gone on for dozens and dozens of years. And I think that's what helps establish this as a special prize for the winner, whether it's trucks, Xfinity, or the Cup Series. So I don't know. I've been trying to think in the time we've been talking about something special. I don't, because it's dirt. Is it a pail and a shovel? I don't know. That's more sand on the beach kind of thing. But something, whatever it is, it's
the
part of the
argument,
personality of the event.
The hot argument has been a giant brass chicken wing, like a 4-foot chicken wing. But is it a drummy or a flat? That's the question.
Always a drummy.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
I'm a flat guy. Well, at least we could share a plate of wings, and we wouldn't hurt each other, Todd. What do you think it should be, Adam?
It could be an indigenous prize, Clint. Right?
I think it's going to have. There's no way it wouldn't have some type of indigenous tie-in. That's right. For sure.
Love that idea.
We talk about how special it is to be racing on a dirt track, and that's the unique thing. NASCAR racing is coming to Six Nations, right? That's pretty damn cool too. So I think when all is said and done, you're going to come up with something spectacular, because I think you will take in all these considerations and really wrap your head around it. The person who wins this race or wins on this night is a part of Canadian racing history.
I think we need to have the smoke dancers present the trophy and have a bit of a cool ceremony in Victory Lane right there. It'd be awesome. But we'll keep those ideas hashed around.
Love that. I love that you have something that is special and unique. And if you have the smoke dancers who perform part of the victory podium, victory circle ceremony, I think that's great. If there's an indigenous art aspect to the trophy, I love that idea because you're representing your
Yeah,
your culture, your history, and the event itself. I love those ideas.
yeah,
I
and
can
that's
definitely
long been a
see how
part
that happened.
of yeah, pre-race ceremonies. Kurt Stiers, I believe, got fined the very first game the Rochester Nighthawks played in the National Lacrosse League because he started the game late because I think he hadn't reported to the league that there would be some sort of a native presentation before the game, and it took up about 3 minutes. But nobody, and I was working for Kurt at the time, so I was down there. Nobody complained. They all thought that it was just really cool and very genuine what had gone on.
Just to tie all that together, speaking of first time events, speaking of Indigenous culture, I'm proud to announce that the powwow in Six Nations is now going to be held at Oshwegan Speedway going forward. This will be the first time ever. It'll be the July 24th, 5th, and 6th weekend. It's going to be awesome, and Oshwegan's super proud to be hosting the powwow going forward. Todd, we
Nice.
appreciate you coming on with us. Anything else we should be hearing from you? Anything else you want to add in? Tell us about your broadcasting, your podcast, and all that stuff you've got going on. Where can some of our viewers and fans find some of your stuff?
Appreciate that. The new podcast that I'm doing with Caitlin Patrick, who is the social media director and jack of all trades for the Pinty
Yeah.
series. It's not exclusively about the Pinty series. It's about racing. Where racing is the thread that ties it all together. We go off on some very serious tangents and some very silly tangents in a lot of different directions. The podcast is called Racing It Out, and it's available on all the platforms, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever. It's bi-weekly at the moment. We'll probably start picking up the pace to a weekly at some point, and we have our first guest scheduled, who I can't give away yet, but we do have our first guest scheduled in a couple of weeks' time. Rev TV is another spot where you'll see some stuff that I'm doing. Rev Culture is making its return later on this month on Rev TV with our first episode in far too long, but it will have a really cool interview I did with Robert Wickens after his
Oh,
podium
nice.
finish at his first return to racing action at Daytona, which was pretty cool. So there's some other stuff. Plus, of course, Pinty Series, SECC Sports Cars, and the Toronto Indy. I will be, well, pretty much camped out all weekend. Looking forward to it.
Right on,
Oh,
Todd.
that'll be fun. Looking forward to seeing you at the racetrack, Todd. If we don't talk to you, have fun out in British Columbia, and we will see you next month.
You too, boys. We'll see you soon. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Todd. He's been around a long time. Adam's seen a lot of good stuff. Been a good mentor for me too. I've learned a lot from Todd out on pit road, and man, one of the smoothest guys we got. So appreciate him stopping by and giving us the lowdown on all the stuff he's involved with. Just like Jamie, we spent a lot of time with him and Joel and the rest of the crew this summer, flying all over the place. You realize you and I are covering every Oshwegan race, every APC race, and every NPC race, NPS race, I believe, right now.
Don't
Um,
bring that up. I
that
actually
means
don't. I haven't
Friday,
looked at.
Saturday, and Sundays. Oh, I'm dreading it
I was
already.
I was asked today. Have you looked at your schedule yet? Rob Twitcher was saying, when are you going to be driving? Have you looked? I said, I haven't. I don't want.
Oof.
I know that you took care of the schedule, Clint. So I know that I can physically achieve all of the races I need to achieve. I think I might be overwhelmed if I saw it on a calendar.
It is a bit overwhelming. Just May 2 for weekend for you and I. We are at Oshwegan Friday, APC Sunset Saturday, and then NPS at CTMP on the Sunday. So it's gonna be it's gonna be crazy. And then we have weekends like Brighton in Labor Day, where we're Friday Oshwegan, Saturday. You have to do CTMP and Brighton at night, and then we have to go back and do CTMP and Brighton the next day again. But hey, man, I love what we do. I'm thankful we have lots of races. 2 years ago, we were locked down and couldn't do nothing, so
Yeah,
I'll take it all. Let's get on it.
I
Um,
I think you and I are going to have a good summer. For some reason, like I think it
we had a
gets
good time
tumultuous,
last
right?
year. Sure, it
Yeah,
does. It's
but I
just like
mean,
anything. When you're on the road, it's like like we explained. I've been in bands all my life, and you got four personalities and four different home lives with different situations and different pulls on you, and somehow you got to get together and put on a coherent show, and it works out. But some weeks, not all the gears are pulling in the same
challenge.
direction, and,
Two
and it works it out.
two things. One, I think, in just rather than saying we have to be here and here, we get to be at these places. I mean, what
Yeah, that's
if
a good
you
way.
told 20-year-old us, Clinton, and I know like it's just a word. It's just have to be there, get to be. If you told 20-year-old us this is what we were going to be doing, like, get out of town. No,
No,
we wouldn't.
it's a lot like one thing you said to me earlier or late last year, and I took it to heart when I'm interviewing drivers in Victory Lane. Like second and third, I had a habit or a bad crutch of saying, "Can you be satisfied with second or third?" And I remember you took me aside and said, "Look, man, these races are hard to get on the podium. It's an honor to be second or third. Don't lead in with, hey, you should be disappointed." And I thought you're right on that. So no, I think the big thing we've got too is we can in most cases we can talk it out before it blows up. So we got to get back to that. Hey, I'm having a bad day, and then we take each other with a grain of
Right.
salt instead of throwing vinegar on the cut.
The second thing is, Clinton, I wouldn't want to work with me. No, I would want to
I
work with
feel the
me.
same way about me too.
I just wouldn't want, like, I think when the lights go on, when the mic turns on, I think I can work well with anybody. Like I think, yeah, I can make this fun. I've had a great time doing it. It's all the times when the mics aren't on. I am a moody bitch. I have 50 bad ideas for every one good idea, and I'm more than happy to share them all with you and tell you why I'm right. And so I think that hurts, that I know that I am a challenge. But
It helps. It helps that you can recognize that. But as we wind down this week's show, we appreciate everybody for hanging out. We'll be back live next Tuesday. I hope to bring back some cool videos from Bristol, but I'm not making any commitments. I'm going there to have a good time. This is my last chance to really let my hair down. We do have some business to take care of on Saturday, but after that, it's going to be party down. We're going to enjoy the Cup race on Sunday. And super proud of them that we're able to take the Knights of Thunder champion and the Action Sprint Tour champion, Jordan Poirier and Jacob Dykstra, down there with their 4 of their crew each, and set them up with a bit of travel bonus and get them to be the grand marshals at the Pinty's truck race, and that's special. So congratulations to them. This is the culmination of their championship season, and we'll be glad to have a couple drinks down there with them and enjoy that too. So hopefully everybody enjoys the Pinty's dirt race this weekend. There should be a lot of coverage coming out on that. If they haven't announced it by the time this airs, you should be seeing some announcements coming out later in the week on that. Couple topics we want everybody to go home and do their homework on, Adam. We still haven't got to the Haley Deegan being threatened situation, and that's something close to your heart because it's a mental health situation, along with just being afraid and how you're going to deal with this going forward. Something we definitely want to talk about. It's been pushed off 2 weeks, but we'll get to that. Pit prices. We want to talk about what is fair. I took a bit of heat at the Weekend Drivers meeting a couple weeks ago, but what's fair, what's not, and what drivers should be paying to get in the races. I'd love to have a good discussion with a lot of our viewers about that. I think that would work. And when should the banquet be? And not trying to pick on Brighton at all, but they had their banquet today. Is your banquet supposed to be in the fall at the end of the racing season, or is it better to carry it into the new year when everybody's ready to get geared up for the season? A good discussion to have. Those are the homework topics I've got, Adam. Anything you want to send home for homework?
yeah, that F1 versus sprint car. We'll talk about that next week, and what it is a comparison of the speed, the
Show it,
dynamics
Spencer.
of what they are.
It only takes a minute. We got a couple minutes left.
Think about what you would like these compared to, because there's 2 race cars go all the way to the bottom, like the 1.6 liter engine compared to a 6.7 liter engine in a sprint car, but you go all the way to the bottom. It's very similar power to weight ratio. A sprint car has a bit more power to weight than that F1 car. I want to research what go-karts have power to weight ratio, because I think we could make the argument that these racers that excel to the Formula One level, almost all of them started in karting, and that's got an even greater power to weight ratio than anything they will race throughout the rest of their career.
Wait a minute. You're saying go-kart has a better power to weight ratio than
Yes.
I
I'd
wish
like
I
to
was a
see the
mathlete.
numbers.
Well, you could
I'd
figure
like
it
to
out.
see
What's
the
your
numbers.
go-kart? Your go-kart is how many pounds? 300 pounds? 200 pounds?
Yep.
So divide that by 9 horsepower. I don't even think you're close.
No, you're not talking 9 horsepower. Take a look at the 125cc shifter class carts that are at Daytona. I mean, the speeds they turn, Clinton, is unfathomable.
But how many
Yeah, not
horsepower are they?
I don't know. That's why I say let's bring that up towards next week. It might be a good discussion to have. And Gary Calling, that's your homework. Find that out for me, buddy. Talk to Rob
I think that
Howden.
might.
He'll have the answers.
I was gonna say that might be above Gary's mathematical capabilities. He's a kindergarten teacher. I was gonna yell, "Dusty the Bar, where are you?" So,
It,
anyways, we
it
appreciate
and
everybody
then
hanging out with us.
the grip
Go
level,
ahead.
the
Well,
grip
that's something
level
you
of an
said too.
F1.
You'd like to be able to measure that. I would say the F1 car would definitely dominate
You're
all
putting
that.
power to the ground, right? This was a good show though. Really, it's all about the people that we can bring in to talk to. But how much fun was that? Talking to Jamie Maudsley for a while and feeding off his energy. Talking to Todd Lewis, who is the consummate professional. Right,
Yeah.
Todd's been doing it a long time. He's smooth as butter.
Can't wait to get at it. Thank you, Spencer, for all you do. We'll talk to you, everybody, next week. We'll have the quick double trivia next week. We'll throw 2 questions out, pick 4 winners, and give away some awesome prizes. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, Fast Eddie. Thanks, Quick. Thanks, Gibbs, Burger Barn, and everybody else who helps us get the show on. Talk to you next week.